fun morning. I like that. It's fun. So we've been doing a series. I was out last week, but we started a series about 3 or 4 weeks ago about talking about how we, during this season in 11:11, celebrate the Via Negativa, which is what we talk about as the spiritual journey of emptying out, letting go. In the summertime, we talk about the Via Positiva and how we enter in and say yes to life and more fully celebrate the gift. But during this season, it seems appropriate for us to just take a moment and think about where is it that we cling to too much to allow the Spirit, allow our lives to move in a way that might find more the sense of calling, of healing, of wholeness. And as a way of doing this, I've used a model that actually comes from Samuel Bois. This is his understanding of human beings. And I thought, wouldn't it be interesting to take this kind of idea of what is it that we during this season might think about letting go of, emptying out, and take it to each one of the areas, the 7 components that Samuel Bois in his book, The Art of Awareness, suggests human beings are. He said, you and I are basically meaning-making creatures, and part of what makes us different from a lot of other creatures is we are semantic transactors. We take in, create meaning out of things, and then transact that with the environment. And so in the last 3 weeks that I talked on this subject, I talked about the way we encounter the world as beings that have memory. We have past. And beings that imagine, anticipate future. And so those 2 components are aspects of our consciousness and aspects of the way in which we go about making meaning in every moment of every day. And then I also talked about the environment. In the next 4 weeks, counting today, I'm going to take these 4 central aspects of feeling, thinking, self-moving, and electrochemical, which are the 4 central ways that he says human beings continually are making meaning. And these 4 are drawn in the middle of his diagram because they're all interrelated. They all interact upon each other. As we all know, if you are having a major emotional issue, it will impact your thinking. It will also impact your movement and the endorphins and serotonin and dynamics in the electrochemical system of the body. Are you loving this so far? Okay. So let's move on. So this idea that I had, which I will never have again, is for us to explore each one of these little components and suggest maybe some ideas in each of these areas of our lives that we might consider how things get stuck and how we can maybe open up to some newer change. In other words, what I'm suggesting is that the gospel and the letters of Paul and the things that we read earlier, where Jesus is talking about the commandment to love, and Paul is talking about love, without love, you're like a noisy, clanging cymbal. What Bois would suggest to us is that, that's beautiful. It's important to think about that. But if you want to change that, changing the fact that you're without love, and being a clanging cymbal may take a little more understanding than just reading that one passage. Now, we know that too, don't we? How many times have you read the passage from 1 Corinthians that Sharon read for us this morning? One of the reasons that I like to explore this stuff is that I have discovered something. I've discovered that while faith and religion and churches and theology have been exploring the topic of human soul and spirit for eons. More recently, things in the world of philosophy and psychology and neuroscience have been discovering things about us that might help us accomplish some of the things we've been talking about for eons. We might actually begin to learn a few tools for understanding what keeps us stuck. Because I can preach at you all day long about being more loving, but what I'm going to suggest to you this morning is if you have a pattern of emotion that has become stuck, that feeling piece in the upper left-hand corner of the central part of that model, if you've got a pattern in your feelings that has become really stuck, talking to you about this will not make a difference. because it is so automated. And I'll give you an example, because examples are the only way I'm connecting with you today, I can tell. So I grow up, let's say, in a family. Everybody's family had family values, some kind of family values. What did your family value most? Let's say you grow up in a family where your family really valued how social appearances looked to others. That was a big family value. So for you to do anything that seemed a little bit outside of what the family wanted other people to perceive the family as was to receive a great deal of criticism and rejection and probably freak everybody out. So you grow up with this family value of fitting in. Now, if you want to suggest how that impacts the rest of your life, you might be able to take a look at how you feel when you don't fit in. Or the possibility that that one value can become the value by which you rate everything and every person that you experience. What Bois' semantic transactor model suggests is it's a filter through which we are continually filtering every moment. In other words, if I say something right now that doesn't fit within your filter of semantic transaction based on patterns that you have of what has become valuable to you, then it won't register, or it will only register in some way that you already had expectation for it to register. I could say the most amazing thing today, something that could absolutely transform your life. But if emotionally you have only one value by which you are judging everything that is said, it will automatically either go into that value or not in that value. It's a pocket that you've already got sewn in your jacket, and everything either goes in the pocket or it doesn't. And sewing a new pocket for something different is something that takes a lot more awareness and consciousness. Because of the way human beings are, we are unconsciously always wearing the glasses of the values that we picked up along the way, the family values that we picked up from our family. And we, because this piece, this feeling piece in Bois' model, is really about what gives something value. Sylvan Tompkins once said, without affect or emotion, nothing is valuable. With affect, emotion, anything can take on value. You know, I could get really excited about this piece of paper. Wow! This is very cool. Or let's just say I never, ever, because of my family values, ever go, wow! Because once I did that, wow! And my family went, no, calm down. No, you must be thinking you're a part of another family. Because our family doesn't go, wow. No, our family might go, cool. Awesome. But not wow. Only families that live over there go, wow. Wow. So the whole idea, you see, of the emotional component of the way we're continually filtering each moment has to do with how I'm able to resonate or not resonate with what you're feeling in any moment. So when I counsel couples, a lot of times what I find is that you get together with two people who have now been married for about 3 years, so the newness has worn off, which means all the novelty is gone, and they don't have any stories to tell each other anymore that can distract them from the fact that they are very different people. And these very different people will have very different emotional ways of being that are very scripted because their family values were very different. So in any particular moment, with any particular scene that they might encounter together, one person is valuing one thing, another person is really valuing another, and they're looking through glasses for which they have no idea they have on. They don't even see each other. I only see whether you're fitting into the value that I have for you. Right? The moment that we're living in. So whether the values that you picked up from your family have to do with some experiences that are wounds and scenes from your past where you felt hurt, abandoned, maybe rejected, maybe not loved, and those values, those scenes in your past become the scene through which you are now measuring every relationship and every encounter. Or whether the values in your past have shaped your opinions about certain things and infused them with emotion. This feeling thing is important because things like what Tompkins calls the affect of dismell, when you turn up your nose at something, can be a biological response that is so scripted you don't even know you have it. So even a guy like me stands up and starts talking. If you've had experiences with preachers and speakers and people who did stuff like I'm doing right now that didn't really lead you to anything really new, and it felt kind of yucky, you might have walked in the door as soon as I stepped out here and had this response. Here it comes, that 40-minute sermon. And the dismell response, basically, we understand it as having a biological component to it that says reject without sampling. Don't sample that. It's like the baby taking, it's like when you open the carton of milk, you smell it. Ooh, no, don't sample that. And so if you, from the time you were young, your family values were to have dismell for a certain group of people, or to have dismell for a certain set of ideas, that is a family value that you carry into this moment and define your experience through this filter, this semantic filter that has already decided, already been scripted to reject certain things without sampling. Not to say that sometimes that's not important. Don't drink that sour milk. But maybe we would have a better chance at connecting with each other more completely and opening ourselves up to the grace and the miracle of different people who are not like us if we didn't have these scripts sometimes that said, have dismell for those people. And maybe people in Congress, no, I'm not even going to go there. But what I'm saying is everybody's got a value that they are measuring every moment by. What if there are more than one value? What if the conflicts that we tend to encounter are really just about people who are looking at the world through one value or two values, but different value from these people over here? But those values are important too. Maybe all these values are important if we didn't have dismell for each other. We might get together and be able to say, you know, it sounds like you're valuing this right now. Small government, you're valuing this. Or maybe you've just been scripted to have dismell about a certain way of governing and what that means with people. And then you have other people over here who are talking about their values that they have around the care for more people and the people who have fallen through the cracks of the system and the way they feel compassion for that. There's a value they're carrying. Neither value is necessarily better or worse than the other. The problem if you ask me, is that we have a tendency to so automatically project only our values on the moment, and to have already decided that other people's perspectives and the values they bring aren't as important as ours. Dialogue has to, real dialogue, authentic dialogue about the issues in our lives, whether it's our intimate life, our family issues, or issues that face the whole country or world, need to begin by acknowledging we all have these scripted, feeling, felt filters that are defining what we see and narrowing our vision to a capacity to only judge based on how a moment is reflecting support or not support for particular values. What are your family values? What did you grow up with that became your important values? Consider the possibility that from time to time, being able to look beyond just those values and to be open to the family values of others who have experienced something different from you. But my suggestion this morning, more than anything, is just to say, if we make a little bit more conscious attempt at noticing the way my patterns of my feelings are judging everything, I may begin to find a different way to respond to life. Yeah, okay, you can think of it this way. You were rejected by a person that you loved. And now, imagine, having had that history, that scene in the past, every encounter with every person, you have a kind of a hypervigilance. You've got a little gauge in your visor. And, I'm getting real Star Trek-y now. And as I encounter anybody, I have this one little gauge that's going, will they reject me or not? Are they rejecting me right now? No. Okay, maybe, yes, they're rejecting me. Now, they may be doing 1,000 different things. There may be dozens of ways we could be connecting and talking and celebrating and do all this stuff, but my main thing is I'm looking to see if they're rejecting me or not. So, sometimes wholeness is about finding a recovery of balance to the feelings in my life and not being stuck with one set of values charged with feeling. How do we let go? How do we empty out? Sometimes it's really just about stopping in the middle of those moments when we are feeling that sense of judgment. Take a breath and be open. I think that moment that we become open, somehow the Spirit rushes in. It's as if everything around us, all creation, is ready to teach and connect when we let go.